Hi guys, today we're going to be building this section with this scroll animation. As you can see, the background color changes and this text scales. So it grows and it pops up here, and then it leaves and goes away. The images are also simultaneously changing. So yeah, this is what we're going to be building today. If you guys haven't already checked out my video on making these other sections of this website, so this nav bar, this hero section, and this other section, go check out those videos first. I'll link the playlist in the description box below, and it'll also show up in the cards at the top right, sorry. Okay, let's just get started. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is drag in this another div. I'm gonna call this div flavors section. I am going to give this a background color of this lighter blue. Sorry, don't want to do that. Yep, this lighter blue. And then I'm going to set it to flexbox, make it horizontal, go down a little bit, and I'm gonna give it an unspecified height for right now. But right now I'll make it 100 VH, but as we go on, I will make the height back to auto again. And I'll show you in a second. I'm just gonna put that in the, I'll put that in the minimum height. So I'll just put 100 VH there. That should be good. So I'm going to, the next thing that I want to do is this section, which is which has the Pepsi cans with the images. So I'm going to drag in another div, call this cans wrapper, give it a width of 30% and a height of 100 VH. So now I can go back here and get rid of this minimum height. That was just there for us to so that it was bigger than the little tiny minimum that it was. I'm gonna go back to this flavor section again and have the justify set to center there. Okay, so this is 30%, right? Now the next thing that I'm gonna do is drag in these images. So I have my blue can, I have I believe it's the black one next, and then it's the gray one. Okay, so I have these three images. I am going to give them all the same class. Yep, I'm gonna give them all the same class, and I'll make this 300 pixels. Okay, give it a position of absolute so that they can be placed on top of each other, and have the opacity set all the way down to 0. Then I'm going to give a combo class for the first one. This is the blue can, so I'll give this a class of blue can. And I will bring up the opacity because I want this one to be visible in the starting, and I'll have the Z index be 4. And I'll say why it's 4 in just a second. So I'll go to this one, black can, right? And this one's gonna have a Z index of 3. So it's gonna be underneath the blue can. And then this one will be silver can. And this one will have a Z index of 2. Okay, there. The next thing that I want to do is do this side text scroll animation. So, or the text scroll part. So I'm going to drag in another div, and I'm going to call this text scroll. I'm going to give this a really big padding at the top, and I'll explain why in a second. I'm going to have the position be absolute. The width, oh wait, that's not right. Make the width be, let's go back there, 30%, right? Flex, vertical, there, okay. Now I'll bring in a piece of text. Yep, gonna call this text 1. This will also have a margin. It's very big, and I am going to set the max width to be 4. That's not right. Oh no. Okay, there. So the max width to be 400 pixels, max width. So like it can't exceed 400 pixels. And I am going to drag in a heading. So if you look back here, there's a heading and there's this paragraph text. That's exactly what we're going to make. So drag in a heading, right? Call this heading text, scroll heading. Actually, we should probably rename this to, to text scroll -1, because that's text 1 is not very specific, is it? So text scroll heading, and then I am going to go to color of white, make it 70 pixels, so pretty big. Change the font from Arial to Throat. And then I think this is good. There. What have I said here? Pepsi, the classic. And then we're going to increase the height, so make it like 70 pixels again, right? There we go. And okay, that looks good. Now I want to bring in my paragraph. Maybe get rid of some of this text because there's just too much in there. Then I want to make it, give it a font first, Open Sans, make it white. Get light, 25 pixels, that's a bit bigger. And the height should also be of 25, 30, a little bit more space. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just gonna duplicate these. So there's gonna be 3 of them, right? And I'll call this one, I'll duplicate. So if you didn't see what I did there, sorry, I'm going too fast there. So I'm gonna hit this menu here, hit duplicate, right? And just change the menu, the name, the class name from text scroll 1 to text scroll 2. Then I'm gonna do the same thing here, duplicate, and then just change the name. And look, and this will get clearer later as to why I did this. Okay, there. Now for this can wrapper, if we hit the preview mode, if we look through, you can see that these are both moving, right? But that's not what we want. We just want this text to be moving. So if we go back here, this can stays in the same position, right? But then all this text is the thing that's moving. So how we do that is we select this can wrapper element, right? And what we do is we set the position sticky and then put 0 at the top. Now if we preview it, you can see that this happens. Now let's set display flex, and we're going to set that to the middle, right? There we go. And for this flavor section, we're going to get rid of this align to the center and just put space around. Yep, there. Now, of course, the most important thing to work on is, of course, the animation. So let's get started on that. Okay, the first thing that we want to do, we're going to split this into 3 parts, right? So first there's a text scale animation. So if you look closely, the text is growing and it's popping up here, right? So the text scale / the text opacity animation, right? That's what we want to do first. And then we have the background animation. So as you can see, the color, it goes from this light blue to this dark black to this gray, right? And last but not least, we want to have these cans fading in on each other. So here's how we're going to do that. First, we are going to set up an interaction on the flavors section, right? So while scrolling in view, right? And here's what we're going to do. So play scroll animation. Let's make a new one called flavors scroll. So the first thing that we want to do is, of course, like I said before, the text. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to select the first text element, right? And like a little bit after the animation starts. So maybe at like 5%, we are going to have it scaled down. So it's going to be right like this, right? And then what we want to do is a little bit later, maybe at like 15%, for example, right? We want it to come to its full size. So if we go back and we look at this in live preview, so well, that's not happening, and I know why. So hit save on your animation, right? And what you need to click on is here in the animation boundaries, select when element is fully visible. Because right now what's happening is that the animation starts when we start entering like this area. We want it to happen when we're full clicked in here, right? So now if we preview, right? There we go. Now you can see that like scroll animation, that scaling that's happening, right? So that's what we want to do, right? Then a little bit later, maybe at like 35%, right? We want it to go back down to, oh, that's not right. Not the flavor section, the text. So at 35%, we want the scale to go back down to 0.8. Okay, and then when that goes back to 0.8, we want to bring this other text scroll up. So we want this to also start animating. So this, the one that comes after, to also start animating, right? And then a little bit later, maybe at like 40%, we want it to go to full size, right? A little bit after that, at like 50% per se, right? We go back down to 0.8, right? And then we do the same thing with text scroll 3. So we have that scale down to 0.8, right? And then at 65%, we have that also scale up, right? And then at like 70%, we want that to also scale back down. 70. There. Now if we hit save and we go into live preview mode, right? You can see that little animation is happening. Okay, so for this last one, you see how it kind of stops midway? That's because we don't have enough space at the bottom for the animation to complete. So I'm gonna add a bit more margin for this scroll. I'm gonna add like a lot, so like 500 pixels of margin maybe. There we go. Now if we go and try, right? There we go, and there we go. Okay. Now, the next thing what we want to do is the background color. So, as you can see, it's going from this blue to the black and then back to the gray. So, that's exactly what we're going to animate. So, we'll go back to this interaction, right? We'll click on it, we'll go back, and we'll start animating. So at 5%, when this first text is happening, right, Pepsi the classic, should probably change the name Pepsi, and then zero sugar, I believe, is the second one, and then the last one is Diet Pepsi, I think. Yep. Okay. So when this blue classic one is happening, we want the blue color to be there, right? But then when the blue disappears, we want the black to start, and so on. So right now, our background color, so make sure you're selecting the flavor section, right? So background color, right? And then we're gonna have it be the color that it is right now, right? But when we reach 35%, right, which is when the second one starts to begin, we're gonna set that background color to black, okay? And then when we start reaching the last one, so when the last one starts appearing, right, which is at 50%, right, we're gonna go to that gray. Oh, not this, no. Select the flavor section at 50%. Background color and make it a gray. There we go, that looks good. So we have Pepsi the classic, right? And then it gets to Pepsi zero sugar, and then it gets to Pepsi diet. There we go, perfect. Now, the last thing that we want to do is, of course, changing the can, right? So how we are going to do that is by, of course, clicking on the can. So, oh, I just realized. Okay, so right now they all have the name can, which is fine considering that we've given them like a combo class, but the problem arises that it gets hard to distinguish between them when we're working on the animation. So what we're gonna do is we are going to get rid of this, we're gonna get rid of these classes. So yep, we're gonna get rid of these classes. So just delete all of them. Or actually, wait. Better idea. So keep the classes. Instead, just duplicate them. So remove all these combo classes that we have set for all of them, right? Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to just give them the name. So this one's going to be called Silver Can. Okay, so we have to delete all of them. So go to your, this is your styles panel, right? Just hit clean up, and it removes all the combo classes and all like classes that aren't being used right now. So I'm going to call this class, I'm going to call this Silver Can, right? And all the styles are okay here, so I'm just going to leave that there. This one's going to be called Black Can. Duplicate, right? Black Can. And then this one is just going to be called Blue Can, and this one's going to have the opacity of 100. Sorry, that's a bit confusing. I'll just get rid of both these classes now. Okay. Going back to our interactions panel. There. Now, cans, right? Changing the opacity. So first thing we want to do is we want this blue can to be fully visible, right? So all the way up to 100, right? And then when the scale starts going down on the right, so like as if you look back here, as the blue can kind of merges onto the black can, which merges onto the gray can, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly that. So here at 15%, I'm just going to have the blue can go all the way down to 0, right? And then the black can, that's not right. Okay. I was doing the text scroll, that's not right. There. And then we want the black can to also be at 0. And then at 35%, we want the black can to be fully visible. Yep. And then we have 50%, right? Which is when we want the black can to go all the way back down to 0. I want the silver can to start appearing. opacity 0, right? And then finally, at 65%, we want the silver can to be fully visible. There. So if we hit save, and we go back, and we look at this animation, so we have the color fading in, right? You have the text moving. In scaling, we have this background color changing. We have the images changing. Everything looks good. Why does this look so weird? I think I am going to give this a bigger max width, because right now it just looks so pushed into me. Huh. Of course, I have to do that to all of them. Yep, okay, so 500 pixels on this one, and do the same thing. 500, same thing for this one, 500. There. Now if we see, it should look a bit better. There. There we go, and there we go. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, check out my other videos on the rest of this series, and there's going to be one more final video in this series, right? We're gonna build a contact page or contact section of this page, so stick around for that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to this YouTube channel and like the video if you liked it. Okay,